going to invite you to this thing that you keep on and will keep on hearing us talk about, the breath. And one reason why we always talk about, or a lot talk about not working alone, to work with mates, is that sometimes things happen like Rose. Where's Rose? Here, there. You can lose your voice. So Rose doesn't have a voice, so I'm going to be her voice and lead you into the breath today. And if maybe you notice that we have a pattern here on the floor. And I would invite you to walk this, or by sitting, but go through this pattern with me. So first take a breath in 4 in, and then stay for 4, and then breathe out on 4. And this is the most natural pattern we have in our bodies. But it's also the pattern that shows up in every conversation. Independent, you met somebody new in the toilet queue, down there, or if you look on the conversations we had yesterday, they follow these patterns of 3 stages. We open up, we explore, and we converge. We breathe out. We come to the level of clarity. And in the beginning of each breath, or every conversation, we have a reason to start. So we have a question, or we have a purpose, or we have a need. We have something that invites us to start a process or a conversation. If we don't have that, why would we meet? And I don't know if you, like me, have been in endless, meaningless meetings. And a lot, yeah, you've been there. Okay, 2 of us have been there. The rest, like the other 128 has just meaningful meetings. Congratulations. So this is for you to know for the other majority of the population. Sometimes this is missing. But we need it if it's going to be a meaningful conversation or a meaningful meeting. We need some clarity of why are we doing this. And we have this phase that we call divergence. Like the movie series, The Divergent. And this is the opening up phase. This is the phase where we can explore or take in new perspectives. And when we talk about participatory process, or we talk about inviting change that matter, or when we work with complex issues, one rule is, if it's about them, don't do it without them. So if we're going to meet and we're going to talk about refugees or children's conditions in school, let's not meet as an elite of expertise and read theory, but invite the people that is concerned. So this is also a phase to open up and widen up perspectives and people. And it's important to honor this phase. And it's also a phase where it's like the importance of slowing down to be able to speed up. The quality of this phase will determine the quality of the outcome in the end. To not rush through this. And nice, I have a live PowerPoint feeder. This phase is called emergence. It's like in the, do you call it in English accordion?
Yes.
The emergent phase. And it's the phase where, because we can't really go on forever, or some would like. If you're the systemic thinker and the philosopher, you would like to be here forever. And you can sit and just discover. But if we want to take that into some meaningful action or change, we want to go into this phase and cook with what we have to stew on it. It's a creative phase. And we talk about co-creation. We have to remember that creation is actually part of that name. It's not just co. It's not collaboration, it's co-creation. And that's what happens here. And it's also stepping into the unknown. Here we open up to different aspects of the known. What unknown can come up from us? Inviting all of that we didn't know before. And this phase can also be called the grown zone. And Mary Alice spoke yesterday about how you love learning, not necessarily when it happens. That's why it also can feel this grown zone. Or in Swedish we have a saying like, confusion but on a higher level. That can be when the grown zone switches to the grown zone. This is also the phase where like flow can appear. But it's not always comfortable to be in the creative phase. So it's good to know that. And some of us love that. And for some it's really painful. So it's to know, and you might also be the one who like loves that. But to know that not everyone does. But we all have to walk through this. If we want to co-create something that matters. And this is the phase of convergence. So this is the phase of conclusion, or to capture from what that came up, how can we structure that and categorize and make choices and find, okay, from all that possibilities, what are we going to pick? And this is also, it's always good to remember the purpose. It's collective clarity of purpose can be the invisible leader through these kind of processes. But especially when you're here, it's like, why did we really do this then? So when we do our categorizing, it's in service of the purpose. We might have come up with wicked new ideas or other discoveries that has nothing to do with that purpose. But it's really good harvest for new bread, not just this one. So it's to make sure that this convergent phase serves the purpose of the reason why we stepped into this breath or process in the beginning. So Mahmoud represents the outcome.
Unseen outcome.
Yeah, but the outcome that troubles, you were the invisible leader, the purpose here. And from this breath, we will end out with some kind of outcome. And as many of you who joined the harvesting team already know that when we design for methods, we also design for harvest. So this is not a blind, totally like, whatever comes up is the right thing. We have an intent before we step into the breath of what do we want to harvest. And it might be tangible. It might be new questions, new ideas. It might be a report. It might be insights or clarity or decisions. But it might also be relationships, the intangible. It might be trust. It might be strengthened to be in the unknown. So to know what we want to have, both tangible and intangible before, but we don't know how it's going to look like. That's why it's a difference between the idea of you start on A and you know the path already, and you know how B is going to look like. Then it's no invention. There's no change. There's nothing new. So you have to keep an openness to what actually form this takes. And this is also the pattern of trainings and processes. So for our 4 days together, this is where we started yesterday, when we've been thinking and preparing this for you. To open up the divergent phase. And now we're inviting you today to be even more. We're going to dive and diverge even more. And we might hit some emergence already today. And some of you might be there already, and that's fine. And tomorrow we have plenty of space to be there. And on Sunday, we have space for this, okay, how do we converge? And what's my next steps? And how might I do it differently when I come back on Monday to work, or when I step into my exploration of my next journey as an activist, whatever it is. So it's also a pattern we use in design of longer processes. And it's a pattern of cafe, World Cafe. You have an opening up question, you have an emergent question, you have a convergent question, and you take care of the harvest. So these are also the basic design pattern for us. And I think with this, it's also as hosts, it's really good for us to know and be able to feel where people are, to be able to design, but also to sense where people are and how to host them well in each of these spaces. How we create safe containers and how we are ourselves in there. So I'm going to invite you